Hey guys, it is awesome to see you today. I've been a little busy. I know I get busy. I feel like I'm Corey Kitchen sometimes because I'll start some projects and I get kind of distracted. Maybe he's also like myself, they a little bit ADHD and he gets distracted. But I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, thank you guys for coming to my channel. If you guys do not know me, my name is Miss Polly. Polyright is what I advocate for to either have positive relationships, regardless if they're monogamous or not. But if you want to know more about poly life and what that really is, or just if you're interested in possibly moving forward with your partner and doing such that you guys get the right information, and even if you're alone. So what we do is here we just kind of conversate about different relationships and what it looks like, and we want healthy relationships regardless of how they're structured. So that's what we're really focused on here on my channel. But and part of that as my own journey, I also see myself as someone who is not just in a relationship with more than one person, but I also am a mother. I love to learn new things. I organize stuff. I have several entrepreneurships that I'm, going towards. So in all of that, it's just interesting, lots of interesting things that I do throughout my life, and I can share them with you. So this is something that I do have a passion for, and hopefully you guys can get something out of being on my channel, either being on my channel in the broadcast and my podcast that I'm starting, or by just coming and learning something and taking it home for yourself so you can be great. That's what it's really about. It's just inspiring others to do what they love to do too. But I do want to tell you guys I had some great new subscribers. I've been on a few podcasts. I am going to have a particular video episode that's dedicated to giving out my thanks to the people who have been helping me through this process of getting more professional, looking more awesome, and making this channel be great. And sometimes you wait till you get big till you say thank you. But for me, this is big for me because I don't have as many connections when it comes to on social media and things like that. I usually tend to just talk to whoever. I don't like focus on, oh, let me try to talk to the most popular person. I usually just tend to just talk to anyone because I feel like everyone should be able to have access to the same information. So for me, it's not something I'm looking for is trying to get so popular. But when I find people who are very intelligent, articulate, and are very kind people who just want to share things like I do, it is wonderful. And to let them know that I appreciate them for being around and being helpful, uh, even if sometimes it can be conditional, but usually unconditional reasons, just to be in the presence of other people who are like-minded is amazing. So I'm gonna give a shout out to them in another episode. This episode is one-on-one. So when we say one-on-one, I have no idea how to work this device. That's what I'm telling you. And remember, we talked about this. Like, I use technology, but like, bare minimum because I just don't really like it. That's what happens to your 80s kids. Like, you don't really be like, oh yeah, let me grab my computer. I'm like, oh, F that, where's the pencil at? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it is what we use now. And transitioning, I go in and out. But uh for this episode, I definitely wanted to give just a few shout outs to some new subscribers. Ganga Highs commented on my video with one of my partners that kind of he was discussing how he felt about the transition, and so that was really interesting. So I want to say shout out to them, and we will get more detailed, and hopefully we'll have some more interviews. Like I said, they don't really like, you know, I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna let them be great. I don't, just because I'm public doesn't mean the people I I am with are public, but they know that I am public, so it could happen. So I appreciate them for that. We also, I want to give a shout out one more person. Now there was a few other ones, and thank you for subscribing. There was a few other people, but um, I just wanted to point out these two. Pink Frosty also left some comments on a video I had about if my partners get jealous. And I'll be honest, like I try to answer the questions you guys give to best of my ability, but a lot of times, like it's hard because I know we want to all one fix one fits all situation, and it's just not how it is. Just because my particular partner or one of them, whatever, usually they're not the same, have a particular issue with something doesn't mean the other one does. We all have different life experiences, especially since we're not in our 20s any longer. So at this point, we have baggage, different triggers, things like that. So someone else's trigger may not be my other partner's trigger. Someone else's issue may not be an issue for my other partner. And that does happen. And so when it comes to things like jealousy or how do they deal with jealousy? Well, yes, so we can give you an overall generalized answer. But for getting more specific, if you're looking for information for your particular partner, you really have to find out who you're with. And that's why it's really important when you first meet people, to kind of really listen and take in who they are. We all know that we put on our best show when we first meet someone. And I'll be honest, like that's one of the things I hate about dating is that I don't like the honeymoon stage. I hate it. I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life because I don't get to know who you are until later. And I want to know you now, and I know that sucks. It takes time and I get it. And it's just for me, it's just like I want to really know who you are because I appreciate you putting on your best show. I appreciate you showing me, the best you can be. But within all that, we all know that, we've been hurt and things like that. And so sometimes getting those deeper stories or those deeper interactions take time. So I don't really like honeymoon phase. And each person is different. So just remember that when you're dealing with your partner, when you come on YouTube looking for relationship advice, um, you're getting generalized information. Your partner may have had something that triggers them. They have to work through so that they can then go further in their relationship to have better situations. If you've been hurt, if you've been cheated on, you may have other triggers. There's just so many different things. If you've never really been cheated on, or you're not really, dwelling on people who are cheaters, you move on from that, and you have other issues where you may feel emotionally abandoned. You may your boyfriend would cheat on you, but you're emotionally abandoned. There are things like that can also, have damage or not. If I'm gonna say, people say damage, but it makes you put up that wall. It makes you want to protect yourself, so you use this. You have to retrain yourself to not be in those modes, and that's a really big thing. So overall, everyone, mental health, especially in I won't just say Black community, ethnic communities is really looked upon as something that is not important, and or it's like the last thing you should worry about because you have so much other things to worry about. And in the times we're in now, let's be real honest. I mean, even though we're going through bad times with money and things like that, I mean, we have advanced so much where it we have a lot more funds, a lot more food, there's a lot more programs, blah blah. And so at this point, and I'm not saying we're all out the woods, so don't get me confused. I'm just saying at this point, a lot of those mental issues in the are being more prevalent, and you see them, and people need to fix them, especially people who are out in the world who want to find partners now, in a new changing world for modern women, to traditional women, to traditional men, modern men. There's a transition that is taking place, especially with women, and I think people underestimated. They underestimated what a women's movement can really do. It just changed the dynamic. Even if there was a movement for men, it still would change everything. It changes the households, and this is why it's important. I think, like I said on this channel, we're also talking about relationships, but relationships go deeper than just husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. Relationships also include your social relationships. So, your people you work with, all these things are really connected. So, when you're in your life's journey and you realize that relationships really are the base of everything, um, this is what's going to, really open your eyes to understanding what good relationships look like. It's not even just about your boyfriend girlfriend relationships, because you have work relationships, boss employee relationships. All those relationships are connected. And then once you can be better at managing relationships in general, you'll really have a better functioning life, point blank. If you can learn how to interact with others, regardless if you like to interact with people or not, you can be someone who doesn't like to socialize a lot, but still be able to function and manage relationships, because you have to interact with other people in your life just for just daily things. You go to the grocery store, you have the mailman, you have neighbors. Um, Learning how to function around other people it's just necessary. It's not really an option. Um, Even when you're online, you have customer service, so things like that. So people think, oh, I don't have to talk to anyone. I mean, yeah, but you won't be very productive. This will set you into depression. I mean, it's just a proven fact. Science is just what it is. You know, when they put you in solitary, when you're in jail, they separate you from other people, you will go insane. You were not built to be alone. Regardless of what the relationship looks like, you're not built to be alone. We weren't made to be alone. And if you don't, believe in the God or whatnot, but if you do, he made us another person from ourselves. So that additional person is there for a reason, because God could have said, well, it's just me and you. Do you see? Even if it's just you and God, he still said there needs to be more of us. And so there is an interaction um that he obviously put in you that you need. So working with people, learning that is very important, and all those great things. So just keep that in mind. That's just it's just what it is. Like I said, I just started to use this streaming app. I will have a whole nother video giving thanks to the people who helped me get to this point, which is amazing to me. I'm going to start doing my episodes here and have a seasons. This is interesting, right? Like, I know it seems bare minimum. Like everyone's like, oh, I already do that. But for me, it's a big thing, because I came into this not really knowing too much about how to do episodes, how to have sections, how to have covers. And so me transitioning from just putting my face on a screen and then just pushing, download, the transition has been amazing. I still have lots of work to do, but as I progress, I'm excited for that. I've told you guys I do struggle with ADHD, so you know when you can see your progression, it's amazing, because a lot of times when you have ADHD, you see yourself going in circles and you don't see any real finished projects sometimes, and that can be very frustrating and depressing. So for me to see progress regardless of how long it takes, it's amazing to see me completing tasks point blank. So this is great. And also I'm a little perfectionist, so that doesn't really help either, because then I always think that it could be better, and I never want to put anything out because I'm freaking out that it's not good enough. So we're going to try to stop that, and I think that will help also in being more consistent if I'm not just hyper focused on it being this 100% the greatest. And so we're just gonna put out content. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for the subscribers who are still subscribers, because I know you can also, as easy as you subscribe, unsubscribe. So I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I do want to give out some more tips. If you guys have suggestions of videos you would like regarding any kind of relationship, please put it in there, because, like I said, I do really base um, my philosophy not just on poly, but poly is a big one. Poly, but monogamy, and also just relationships in general. You have, connecting with others, working with others, and we all are just striving to have the great relationships in our life. So, um, work relationships, neighbor relationships, like, to me, at the end of the day, it's really trying to understand each other. So that's what I wanted to put out there today. I do know this video It's pretty short. And I do know I make a lot of videos like this talking about what I'm going to do. So in this, I also wanted to tell you guys that I did a podcast. It has not come out yet. It's going to come out next weekend. So then it's going to be with Real Talk, Tim from Real Talk. And so we are going to be discussing kind of, I'll be honest, we were talking about what the difference between relationships that are open and poly relationships. So, and then that's where we were talking about what is an open relationship and a poly relationship the same. And that is where I want to jump into that box. So for anyone who's listening for the last 15 minutes, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. But I also want to make sure I might even cut this into two pieces. It's because I want to make sure that we do discuss that because that's important. So this is for the beginners. If you are in an open relationship, let's get down to that basic there. Open relationship is an overall word that we use for relationships that allow you to be able to go outside of your partner. Okay, that can look like several different things. Now, I don't like the umbrella poly with a lot of other things. I'm be real honest with you, is because most open relationships are considered very, very, very sexual based. That means they don't want to have any connection. If they do have a connection, it's very small. That has to do with mental connection. And you hear people say it all the time, like, "Oh yeah, if a woman cheats on you, it's worse because she's mentally connecting," or and I would say not every woman's that way, but a lot of women do connect that way. So if that's the case, if that is the case, guys, listen to me. Those other relationships where you do swingers, if you're into lifestyles. Now, lifestyles also is a separate thing too. So if you're in the lifestyles is kind of the general name for overall, I'm just going to say like fetish based activities. That's why we say lifestylers. Now, some people, when you look it up on the internet, you probably won't see it as much because they have specific ones. It could be anything. It could be role playing. There's just so many options. Role playing, BDSM is a big part of that. So these are things that you know are going to be affected. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to know that. We also have um, let's see what else. I'm trying to think of some other ones we have. So there's big fetish mostly, fetish or but they're all consensual fetishes. So a lot of times you do this with people who aren't your partner. That some of them are sexual, some of them are not. So a lot of these things, like I said, for example, people who are into bondage sometimes have sex, sometimes don't. Some people who are into being, you know, demasculated, they're not always having sex. So these are things that um it's deep. So like we'll have an episode on that. I would like to call it watch someone take it, but hopefully not. But it's the softer side of BDSM. That'll be an episode because that's its own thing. So at the end of the day, that's what lifestyles are. Open relationships are usually connected with lifestyles because they don't normally have a a monogamous situation, but you can. So that's this is where the separation is. You can be poly and in two lifestyles. You can be I don't know how this works, but you could be monogamous with one partner and be in lifestyles because you can be with just one partner, but then maybe if you like to be dominated by a woman and you don't have sex with her, you're technically not doing anything, she's demeaning you, then boom, you're monogamous. But you like to have another woman do that to you. So at this point, and it can be non-sexual. So that's how you can have a relationship and it be in lifestyles and it not technically be sexual, and still be into another group. So I actually have I found one, and I'm gonna put this up. I'm gonna start putting this up. I found a diagram. This diagram is very extent, very, very intense. Okay. It kind of shows how you can be poly into this, and you can be poly in this, and you cannot be poly in this. And then it just that's how it can be. And so that's why when people kind of specify what they are, um, we use these terms and which can be very overwhelming for some people. Um, and it gets them confused and we don't want confusion. So I try to steer the car, guys. I try to steer you away from all the terms sometimes, but also we want to be clear on who we are and what we're looking for. So if you go into a situation and someone says, "Yeah, I'm in an open relationship with my girlfriend," she allows me to have a girlfriend on the side, but I can't bring her home. I can't, she doesn't want to meet you, things like that. That may be a swinger situation, with a swinger situation with a lot more restriction. So see, there's all kind of levels to this. So yeah, it can be. And people are like, well, that sounds so confusing. And that's when I tell them it's not confusing. It's just that you're learning some new information. And most adults, we barely want to go to work if we don't really like our jobs. And at this point, if someone's telling you about something that's totally different than what you normally do, something that you do effortlessly, why would you want to learn about a whole nother lifestyle in that detail unless you really wanted to do it? So it can be a little overwhelming. So if I take away all that and I give you the base, sometimes it's easier to take, swallow the first pill, to swallow the first pill of the program, because it's just one, and then you're like, okay, I'll give you another one in a couple weeks. And learning about this lifestyle and the progression into these different worlds, it takes some time, and then you get to know where you are and what you want. That people are eager to kind of learn, it's going to be easy for you because you're going to want to know that information. You're going to be looking up stuff. No big problem. You know what I'm saying? So my job here sometimes will be in the podcast. She kind of goes over those things. Um, One of the things that like I said in the podcast with Real Talk, is that there were, I felt like I wish I had more time. Maybe we can do another show, but the, the confusion and the combination of lifestyles, for me, I like to answer questions, but I can't answer questions sometimes when they're so vague because I have to answer them from different places. If you are monogamous, what does this mean to you? If you are poly, what does this look like to you? If you're in an open relationship, what does this look like to you? And I have to answer those three different ways because if you are poly and someone does something, it may not be the same as if you are in an open relationship. So rewind back to what we were saying. But he did ask about, well, what is the purpose of being in an open relationship, kind of. An open relationship, like I said before, there's an umbrella, but you are able to go outside your relationship with your partner knowing and be able to do sexual things. Usually that's what it is. It's not, well, let me go out and hang out with my friends and we're gonna, if something happens, something happens and then we'll come back to the house. No, mostly open relationships are a sexual thing that, oh yeah, we're gonna go out for dinner, we're gonna have a movie, we'll probably do something sexual with this person, and then they'll leave and we won't see them until we call them another time. Those are swinging situations where the partner, and they call it swinging because literally you're swinging in and out of someone else's relationship. Um, and then that's where these other terms come in, like unicorn and such. So with him, it's like sometimes I was trying to explain, but every time you ask me to explain, I have to give you a new definition of something else. So the topics can get rather long. So unicorns, if you don't know, I'm gonna throw it out there. We'll talk about unicorns in another episode. We're not gonna do it right now, but I just wanted you to know. So same thing, swing in and out. If you are a person who's in a poly relationship, you usually, this is, you poly people are so interesting. And I feel poly and I find it interesting because when you open the door to access to other people in your life, regardless of if it's sexual or if it's even just mental. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself to decide when and who is important to you in your life. And I know people are like, well, you do that when you're monogamous. A lot of times there's time restraints, and it could be in poly too, but a lot of times there's time restraints. You have a lot of, what they call the ticking time of women who feel, oh, I have to get married in a certain time frame. So maybe, you start freaking out, you're not married and you're 25. So then you start trying to focus on just finding a husband. Maybe you don't not supposed to meet your husband until you're 35. So these are things to me that you're hyper focused on trying to find a husband, but your husband, you won't meet your husband until you're 35. How do you know? So you're looking and you're in a place where you're not really supposed to find that person for you. This is based on monogamy. So if that's the case, then you'll be damaging yourself for your husband till you're 35. If those relationships don't work out and they're not positive. So that's not good either. So I mean, it's just like there's a lot of stress. Poly people, when you're able to just be like, you know what, this may not be a long term relationship. This may be a relationship that's only gonna be a year, but I'm okay with that. I'm just enjoying spending time with them. And then that takes a lot of pressure away. Because if you had a conversation with someone, you're like, hey, listen, I really enjoy hanging out with you, and I like getting to know you, and I find like your conversations are amazing. And I like to be around you, I like to hang and spend time with you. And that's cool. So you guys do that. And then you say, but I want kids and you don't, or whatever the thing is. I have some goals and I have to really focus on my career. But when I do want to, spend time with someone, I would like it to be you. Those kind of things can be something you can enjoy. You don't have to miss out on. But you guys are all on the same page of what it is, that you're not going to be a long term partner with someone. You're not going to be that with that particular person. Sorry. But you want to be on a different course, but you enjoy that person. You don't have to lose out on having that relationship. You don't have to lose out on the time you're going to share with that person. You're able to do that still. So, oh, sorry, I messed around with this stuff. So, you'll be able to do those things, enjoy those moments with the people that you get to know. And then when you finally do meet someone and you want those things, with them that maybe are more serious, you can decide to continue that relationship or not. And you being married to someone else or having your ceremony with someone else doesn't stop that relationship that you've always enjoyed. Now, the terms of what that looks like and all those things, those could be a conversation. Just like at work, conversations, negotiations, they take place every day, regardless if they're work or not. And so, um, I know people might say you may not agree, but if you really think about your life in not just a workplace, but in general, you're making those kind of moves in general. If you even have a husband and you decide, oh, this is how we're going to do this and this, you're negotiating. You're negotiating, you're making plans, you're making contracts. They're just in your head. So at this point, probably people to me are very interesting that they're able to function and engage in those relationships, enjoy people, and not have to lose those relationships that they have with people because they're deemed inappropriate. And then, you know, I think that really just shows how we can, really function as a whole. So as a whole, but in general, those are really kind of where poly lifestyles and open kind of differ. And if it wasn't good enough explanation, I will have another in depth. I'll try to separate. Now I'm breathing because, like I said, when once you open this book, okay, it can go on forever, and I don't want to do that. But I have had some videos that are an hour and people listen to it, so I do want to have some guests on here. I'll have some conversations that I think will help make it a little bit more entertaining than you just staring at me. I mean, I think I'm cool too, but not that cool. No. So I definitely want to go ahead and start this progression and to have a more entertaining podcast, more content regarding piling open. But you guys are gonna check out on Real Talk Tim's Real Talk, and then I will put in the description uh his link. I don't think he didn't put it out yet. He told me it's gonna be like not this weekend, next weekend. So I will actually no, the weekend after Father's Day. So we're gonna have that video come out, and you can see it's not long at all. Like I said, when people open this box and then they ask me questions, I feel like I'm really time restrained sometimes because the content can get so big. And I have been on some other podcasts, like I said, and I'm gonna give out a shout out to but Chef Hono. His podcast was like 4 hours. And I know it's really long. Nobody's like, oh my God. But if you guys like to listen on the road or things like that, that's a good one to listen to. And I've been on that one twice. But if you guys want to, we'll chop some of them up so it won't seem so long, because sometimes those conversations are so long because they're so in depth. And we want to separate that for some people who, maybe just want to watch them maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever. So I'm going to start trying to get that going for us, get us some guests, but definitely be on the watch out. I'm probably going to, you guys know, I'm going to be on the week. I work on the weekends, really don't like to do it on the weekends, but today is weekend. So yeah, I had a little time. I was going to put this out for you guys to see it, have the content you need for now. I will also do another video. There's a couple topics I want to bring up, and like I said, relationships in general. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of relationships, and one of those, even if our relationships between women, and then I'm not just talking about bisexual or anything like that, saying like, you know, the traditional woman versus the modern woman. What does that look like? Things like that. So our relationships are so important. So it's important to bring those out and show you guys that, there's different kinds of women out here. So I do have some younger women that I want to bring because they're the ones out here, talking to these men and what is their view on what it looks like and how they feel about traditional things. So I got some stuff coming, y'all. I'm ready. I hope it helps you guys. So thank you guys for checking me out. I definitely, one more thing before I run away. Okay. I noticed what hits a lot for people on my channel is polyandry. And I'm going to be doing some more interviews with my partners. And then I'm also, like I said, some of them don't participate well on the camera, but we'll definitely have some more conversations about that and what it looks like. Because I know people are interested in hearing what it looks like, knowing about what it is. A lot of times people want to hear from my partners. They don't want to hear from me. So, maybe I'll even shake up the box and do an interview with an ex or something. I mean, whatever. I'm usually pretty okay terms with exes for the most part. I like the for some reason I dated you. I must have liked you for some reason. So um I don't think I should dislike you. So we didn't agree. We didn't agree. Our terms of our contract had to cease. But other than that, we were good, right? So I definitely will say I might do that and then show you guys what it was like if you're interested, what that is. So comment below. Thank you guys for watching. we're gonna get going with all these episodes. It's gonna be a great season. So we're gonna start it off with some great stuff. So definitely I'm gonna head out with some more videos for you guys. Um, look out this week coming up, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week starting tomorrow. So be positive, get your rest, and be great.